NFL officials aren't perfect. We'd like to think that they're trying their best to make the right decisions each and every game, but the fact of the matter is, they're human, and they're always going to make some bad calls here or there. The players, coaches, and fans just have to learn to live with it. But it's one thing to make an incorrect call, it's another when you make several brutal calls that severely affect the outcome of a game. Here are the NFL's 10 most embarrassing single-game officiating performances of all time. Number 10. Week 6, 2019. Seahawks vs. Browns. The Cleveland Browns were one of the NFL's biggest disappointments in 2019. Another reminder that winning the offseason doesn't guarantee on-field success. Just about everything that could go wrong with Cleveland did in fact go wrong. But they could hardly be blamed for their Week 6 2019 home loss to the Seattle Seahawks. The Browns were on the wrong end of 3 massive officiating miscues that were just flat out embarrassing. In the third quarter, Browns receiver Jarvis Landry was flagged for a blindside block during a Nick Chubb running play. Except, it was a totally legal block. Later in the fourth quarter, Landry appeared to have scored the go-ahead touchdown on a 4th and goal play at the 1, but officials controversially ruled that Landry fumbled and didn't cross the plane. Seattle took a penalty on the play, and the Browns got another chance but were stuffed. But that Landry catch should have been the go-ahead TD. The officiating only got worse from there. Seattle's game-winning drive was aided by a Morgan Burnett horse collar penalty on Russell Wilson. Please watch this and tell us where the horse collar is. The drive ended with a Chris Carson touchdown run, and Seattle held on for the win. Baker Mayfield was initially fined $12,500 for criticizing the officials after the game, but he had it overturned following an appeal. Number 9. Week 14, 2019. Chiefs vs. Patriots. Patrick Mahomes vs. Tom Brady Part 3. A rematch of the previous year's AFC Championship game was somewhat overshadowed by some brutal officiating mistakes. And in a rarity, it was the Patriots who were on the wrong side of these errors from the refs. In the waning seconds of the third quarter, the Patriots stripped Travis Kelce, and Stephon Gilmore had a clear path to the end zone. But the refs blew the whistle early, forcing the Patriots to take over at their own 43-yard line, thus denying them of a likely touchdown. On the ensuing drive, Tom Brady threw a 12-yard pass to N'Keal Harry, who was incorrectly ruled out of bounds at the Kansas City 3. Officials showed he stayed in, and the Pats were denied a touchdown. Again, to make matters worse, the Patriots were out of challenges, so they had to settle for a field goal on the drive. Well, that wasn't even the end of it for New England. On their final drive of the game, Tom Brady attempted a deep pass to Philip Dorsett, who was clearly interfered with by Kendall Fuller. But the officials held on to their flags, and again, the Patriots couldn't challenge it for PI. New England was robbed of what should have been a fresh set of downs near the 5. They later turned it over on downs, and the Chiefs escaped with a 23-16 victory, thanks in large part to 3 costly officiating mistakes. Number 8. The Inaccurate Reception Game. This game makes the list because of one embarrassingly unforgettable officiating mistake. The Green Bay Packers visited the Seattle Seahawks on Monday Night Football in Week 3 of the 2012 season. You all know what happened. MD Jennings picks off Russell Wilson's Hail Mary on the game's final play, but the officials award a Golden Tate touchdown, leaving us all wondering how. For starters, Tate got away with a blatant push-off which should have been pass interference, which would have ended the game. Secondly, how could you possibly call this simultaneous possession when Jennings had it cleanly? This was the last straw for the NFL with the replacement refs. After this game, the league settled the referee lockout and brought back their real officials, much to the joy of every NFL player, coach, and fan. Number 7. Week 1, 2016. Packers vs. Jaguars. This would be higher on our list if it had higher stakes, but let's be real. A Week 1 game featuring a powerhouse Green Bay team against a Jacksonville team isn't, well, a high-staked contest. At any rate, this is still one of the worst single-game refereeing performances imaginable. The league acknowledged that 16, yes, 1-6 calls went against Jacksonville in their 2016 opener, and they only wound up losing 27-23, so yes, the officiating mistakes really were the difference. For example, the refs missed this clear and obvious PI call on the Jaguars' final drive, which would have put them in a prime position to win, with a fresh set of downs. Man, 16 blown calls, all against one team. That is just, I don't even know anymore. Number 6, the NOLA no call. Okay, so this game only really had one truly horrible and inexcusable mistake, but guess what? It was horrible and inexcusable enough to qualify for this list. Just like that 2012 Packers-Seahawks game we told you about earlier. You all know the story. 2018 NFC Championship Game at the Mercedes-Benz Superdome. Los Angeles Rams versus the New Orleans Saints. Drew Brees and company are one first down away from essentially putting the game away. Facing a 3rd and 10 situation in the red zone, Brees attempts a pass to Tommy Lee Lewis, but he was hit by Nikhil Robbie Coleman well before the ball arrived. Clear textbook pass interference. A first down would have allowed the Saints to melt the clock and kick an easy game-winning field goal, but the Rams were bailed out big time. The two teams would exchange fourth-quarter field goals, and the Rams won in overtime thanks to Greg Zuerlein's 57-yarder. The call completely determined the NFC Championship game, and for the 2019 season, the league allowed teams to challenge PI or non-PI calls. That wound up being a disaster, so it was scrapped ahead of the 2020 season. Number 5. 2014 NFC Wildcard Game. Lions versus Cowboys. The Detroit Lions have a sad history of being robbed by woeful officiating, but the most painful one was, without a doubt, their 2014 NFC wildcard loss to the Dallas Cowboys. The Lions led by 3 with just over 8 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. Facing a 3rd and 1 situation, Matthew Stafford attempted a pass to Brandon Pettigrew, who was blatantly interfered with by Anthony Hitchens. But after a brief discussion, the officials inexplicably picked up the flag, and if that wasn't bad enough, things would only get worse for the Lions. Dallas went for it on 4th and 6 at the Lions 42 with 6 minutes left, and Tony Romo hit Jason Witten for 21 yards. And Ndamukong Suh of the Lions was clearly held on the play, but no flag was thrown. And even the NFL later admitted that the officials missed a penalty on Dallas. That should have brought up 4th and 16, but no. The Cowboys ended the drive with a Romo to Terrence Williams touchdown pass, and the defense held on for the 24-20 victory. Those 2 officiating mistakes cost Detroit their first playoff win since 1991. Absolutely embarrassing. Number 4, Super Bowl 53. If there was any consolation for New Orleans fans, at least the Rams were on the wrong side of officiating mistakes in Super Bowl 53 against the New England Patriots. This was one of the most boring Super Bowls of all time, to put it mildly. Penalties, tons of punts, a lack of big plays, you name it. Non-Patriots fans were sick of seeing them in the Super Bowl. The general NFL fan knew that the Rams didn't deserve to be there. It's only fitting that this forgettable Super Bowl would be brought down even more by poor officiating. In the fourth quarter, with the game tied 3-3, the Rams were piecing together a promising drive. Todd Gurley had a 13-yard run into New England territory, but John Sullivan was flagged for holding, which Tony Romo disagreed with. On the next play, Jared Goff scrambled out of bounds and took a hard hit from Jonathan Jones that probably should have been a penalty. But this time, rather strangely, the refs decided to keep their flags in their pockets. And oh, the worst officiating mistake of all was still to come. The Pats led 10-3 with 4.5 minutes remaining. Brandon Cooks dropped a potential game-tying touchdown. On the next play, Goff threw the essential game-sealing interception. But closer replays showed that Stephon Gilmore got away with the pass interference on the Cooks touchdown drop. A month later, the league's competition committee admitted that Gilmore should have been penalized, which would have given the Rams a fresh set of downs at the 1. An absolutely brutal game-changing no call by the refs. But hey, if you're the Rams, don't forget that you wouldn't have been in the Super Bowl if it weren't for a certain no call that went in your favor one game earlier. You win some, then you lose some. Number 3. Week 6, 2019, Lions versus Packers. The Lions should have left Lambeau Field with a thrilling win against the NFC North rival Green Bay Packers on Monday night. Keywords, should have. The refs didn't exactly allow it to happen though. Several questionable calls benefited the Packers in this one, but 3 especially stand out. First, with 7 minutes left in the fourth, Matthew Stafford threw a deep ball to Marvin Jones, but Green Bay got away with a blatant pass interference that would have moved Detroit into the red zone. Then there was the first horrible hands to the face penalty against Trey Flowers. This led to an Allen Lazard touchdown.
Right now, he's on the shoulder pad. He's still on the shoulder pad. I'm trying to figure out when does he actually put hands to the face there?
And finally, there was the second horrible hands to the face penalty at the worst time possible. This brutal call on third down with less than 2 minutes left allowed Green Bay to melt the clock before kicking a game-winning chip shot. The Lions lost 23-22. And while most coaches and players are reluctant to blame the officials for a loss, we wouldn't hold it against the Lions if they broke that rule this one time. Number 2, 2017 AFC Championship Game. 4 notably horrible officiating calls, all of which went against the Jaguars. Needless to say, it was a field day for those who say the refs are always on the Patriots' side. Jacksonville built a 14-3 lead over New England in the AFC Championship Game. They were primed for a big upset, until the officials started to commit several embarrassing mistakes. For starters, AJ Boye was flagged for pass interference on Brandon Cooks late in the second quarter on a totally uncatchable ball. That set up a New England touchdown to give them the momentum back before halftime. Fast forward to the fourth quarter, with the Jaguars trailing by 10 early on, Miles Jack stripped Dion Lewis and had a clear path to the end zone for a touchdown. But the officials blew the whistle and ruled him down, despite clear evidence showing he wasn't. Jack was robbed of an easy touchdown that would have essentially put the game away. But oh, the refs were far from determining the outcome of this game. Late in the fourth quarter, the Patriots got away with blatant pass interference on Jaguars tight end Mercedes Lewis, which should have given Jacksonville a fresh set of downs. Tom Brady found Danny Amendola in the end zone for the go-ahead score with 2 minutes and 48 seconds left. New England forced a turnover on downs and needed just one more first down to ice the game. They did just that, thanks to Dion Lewis's 18-yard run. A closer look at the replay, and you'll see that the Patriots got away with blatant holding on the game-clinching run. But of course, the officials missed it. You really had to feel for Jacksonville and their fans. They were oh so close to their first ever Super Bowl appearance. But for horrible officiating, put that dream to bed. Number 1, Super Bowl 40. You know it's bad when the head official has to apologize several years later because he and his crew completely botched it. Unless you're a Pittsburgh Steelers fan, you probably best remember Super Bowl 40 for its embarrassing officiating. Not Jerome Bettis' perfect send-off, and not Bill Cowher finally getting his ring. None of that. The Steelers were gift-wrapped several game-changing calls from the officials in this one, to say the very least. For starters, Darrell Jackson's first quarter touchdown was nullified because of offensive pass interference. Analyst John Madden even expressed some confusion with the call.
Jackson, he's going to start outside, then he's coming on the in right there, and then he feels the scramble, so he goes into a scramble.
After the 2-minute warning in the second quarter, Ben Roethlisberger was awarded a touchdown on a rushing play, but when you look at the replay, it's hard to see where he got in.
That second down play, I think they had to come up with something like this, where you give him the tail.
Challenge this play. You take a look. Does the ball.
3 plays later, Hasselbeck was intercepted by Ike Taylor, but that was only part of the damage. Officials flagged Hasselbeck for a block below the waist, which Al Michaels referred to as a bad call. The Steelers went on to essentially clinch the game when Antoine Randall tossed a 43-yard touchdown pass to Hines Ward, winning the most controversial Super Bowl of all time by a score of 21-10. 4 years later, head official Bill Levi owned up to his mistakes and claimed to have had sleepless nights over it. Pretty hard for officials to ever botch an entire game as badly as they did in Super Bowl 40. But what do you think is the most embarrassing single-game officiating performance of all time? Join us in the comment section below. If you like this video and learned a thing or two, clicking the like button helps out a ton. And hey, we appreciate it. If this is your first time coming around to TPS though, subscribing is a great idea, because we put out videos like this every single day. But as always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.